now, and then I will just be a minute or so while I'm looking for something to talk about.
Okay. Okay.
Routing power to forward shield.
Get in here! Got you good as new.
Get through this. No. Time to raise my APM.
All right. I like that we're pressuring the Pharah. I think I have a couple things in mind that we may discuss.
Yeah.
Get in here!
I'm gonna have to shoot you down. Routing power to forward shield.
Team, heal up here.
All right. So I think first let's discuss your defense matrix usage. So last time, checking real quick, we went over Zarya most of the time.
Mhm.
So let's discuss should you be using your defense matrix? Well, when you use your defense matrix, there's actually a lot of different options that you have. You because there's a lot of different times where it's needed. You can use it to block abilities and ultimates, which usually are going to be very high powered things to block, right? It's a very valuable thing when you can block abilities. Oh, excuse me, I got a hiccup there. When you can block abilities and ultimates. You can additionally block for when you or your teammates are in danger. So being in danger could mean, and like to define that slightly better. I'm not sure if we talked about bubbles or not, but um,
Yeah.
yeah. So we did, or yeah, no. Oh, it's fine. We can just review that anyways. So I can be 1 HP around this corner and perfectly safe, and then I can be full HP and right next inside their whole team, and then be very much in danger, right? So health does not dictate danger level, but it does impact it. So watch for danger levels of your teammates, and that will probably dictate when you should use your DM. So like you're 1 HP, your teammates are 1 HP, you're in the middle of their team. Um, Maybe there's a lot of damage coming your way, your team's in a grab, those sorts of situations. And then you can also use it when you're pushing forwards and trying to run at somebody, or you're backing out and trying to escape. Right? They have a bunch of different options with it. Now, when you do not want to be using Defense Matrix is just kind of for no reason whenever, right? You don't want to just use it for spam damage, just like, for example, the Sigma's just shooting a shot or two at you, right? Or your team. That's not something that you really want to be wasting your defense matrix on unless you really need, like, again, danger. Because then you don't actually have your defense matrix for when it's needed. You just kind of end up wasting it all. And that
Mhm.
also means that you're not able to actually do other things like shoot while you're defense matrixing. So make sure you're keeping an eye on that, as I've seen a couple situations where we're just kind of putting it out there, maybe without too much thought into what it's actually being used for, and then we end up wasting it a lot for when it's actually needed. Um, I don't know if we can go like back like
Team,
5 seconds here,
heal up
like where
here.
we end up using it like here when Sigma's in the middle of using his grasp, so it's not like he's able to really shoot at all, and then we don't use it when Ana sleeps us, right? So those are is kind of the inverse there, where we want to watch for the sleep, but we shouldn't be DMing for the grasp because that's not gonna do anything for us. So that whole concept makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Team,
Alrighty.
heal up here.
With
Power, such possibilities.
Are you in your trial?
Let them up.
Bunny hop,
Bitte Universum, singt vor mig! Let them
bunny
up.
hop.
Bitte Universum, singt vor mig!
Alright, so we just kind of got missiles afterwards.
APM 좀 올려볼까?
You may have potentially wanted to wait an extra sec, especially if Far has mercy on her. You might have wanted to wait an extra second to get your missiles before boosting at her, because you're probably, unless you have an opportunity like she's low health or she's low to the ground, you're probably not going to be able to kill her without your missiles, especially if she's being pocketed by a mercy. So you may have wanted to wait there to get your missiles before you're engaging on her.
Time to raise my
Kind of notice
APM.
once again, it's kind of the same thing, is we're using our missiles after Genji's already around the corner and you're no longer on top of him. So we're just kind of in both situations they were pressing missiles very late in the engagement after they've already escaped from you, right? So watch about
Okay.
wasting those missiles and look to use them as you're going in and
Time to
engaging,
raise my
because that's
APM.
acts as burst damage where you hit them with all the damage all at the same time, which is what you want to be doing.
Nerf this.
Okay. Typically when you go and you're looking for a bomb, just plop in the bomb there isn't going to be the most effective way to use it, as a lot of times that just means that something like this happens where they have so much time to see it, so much time to react to it, that it just basically doesn't do anything, because they just everybody runs around a corner. Sigma could have even run around the corner so that nobody would die to it, and then Sigma has a shield for it, so it gives them tons of time to react to it. So basically you never want to bomb just sit in there unless it's like a last resort.
Hmm.
Alternatively, most of the time you want to launch your bombs. I'm not sure how familiar you are with that. Are you aware of how to launch your bombs?
I think that was just an accidental because I usually do throw them up in the air and then let
Yeah.
them like drop down.
Okay.
I think,
Mm.
yeah.
Enemy down.
There was this during the same game, I think May ulted and I kind of launched my bomb out and I got 2 people. It was
Nice.
at the very end. But yeah, I think I know uh what you're kind of talking
Yeah.
about.
And then additionally, are you aware of how to bomb the remech? Is that another thing you're aware of how to do?
I still love you.
Oh. Oh wait, show me that one.
Yeah, so essentially this is like a tech that you can do, is basically as you're getting demeched. So let's say that you're getting, things are getting a little dicey, they kill you, they demech you. In that demech animation, so as you're exiting your suit, you are able to still press your bomb button, which means that you can use it kind of as a last resort option to escape and remech, right? So here it's gonna take a minute because these guys don't do any damage. But essentially, yeah, you just, if you're in a dangerous situation, you can use it as a get out of jail free card, or like kind of as a second life. So you can wait to see if they actually get you. Oh, this is gonna take another 20,
Yeah.
20 seconds. Unfortunately, because for some reason they don't have any higher damaging bots in the training range.
Yeah. I think I know this one too. Now when you're
Yeah.
yeah, it starts to turn like you see her coming out of the mech and then you press Q.
Yes. Yep, you got it. Additionally, I'd recommend, like, typically, rather than just launching it straight up, which can also be a decently predictable, that's like kind of the second tier. The third tier above, even above that, is to launch from unpredictable angles, right? So it's still decently predictable for them to, like, if you launch it up in the air, they can probably get out of the way decently easy. But if you're launching it like inwards from another direction, then that becomes even harder to tell where is it going to actually land. So whether that be from just here, but even better would be if they can't see where it's coming from. So if you're bombing from somewhere, from over rooftops or a high ground, somewhere where they can't see where it's at, we can bomb over the rooftops here and just launch it in, and it drops on their heads, and they don't even know where the heck it's coming from until the very last second, right? And then that's going to give you a lot of give you a lot more value out of your bomb.
All right.
And then we were on King Sir. Hopefully it's this one.
Now entering ready for battle.
Healed up.
Somewhere around this.
Yeah.
Defense matrix activated.
See that which is
Taking off.
Objective A
Okay.
captured.
Missiles, once again. Here it is a little bit early, so typically you're going to want to activate the missiles after you're very close to the person, not because the missiles do less damage from a range, but because they're so much more inaccurate at a range, right? You're going to be missing a lot more shots from back here on the Pharah than when you're in Pharah's face, right? So I would probably recommend pressing the missile button when you're like within 5 meters or so of her, but here, watch when we press it. We press our missiles when we're all the way back here, right? Which means that by the time we reach her, our missiles are already basically gone by the time we're on top of her, right? So make sure that you're pressing your missiles not after the person's already gone, and not before you're even on top of the person.
see that which is
Taking off.
Yeah, she's low. But
Yeah, no, you probably shouldn't have pushed 3 people. That's a
yeah.
good idea.
Let's keep it moving. Time to raise my APM. This is not bad. 날라간다.
Let them out.
Bar's gonna barrage here probably. Oh no, she doesn't have it yet. I guess looking top left. Really, she doesn't have it in 3 whole minutes. What you doing, Farah? Or 2.5 minutes?
Anyone need some healing? The wolf hunts for his prey.
Or maybe she's already barraged. Who knows?
Oni no kill.
Okay. DM, you can see it again here. How we're kind of just, eating up a little bit of spam. Like, is Diva shooting down the corridor? Even if it's Diva, Genji, and Ana, is that really super valuable in any sense to be DMing in comparison to, let's say, Ana sleeps, Ana nades, Far's about to barrage, right? Their hog's about to ult. Okay, you're 1 HP. Your teammates in the middle of their team, right? Like, think about those scenarios in value comparison to here where we're just kind of wasting all our DM against nothing in particular. And then we're gonna come in and we're gonna use there once again. Notice how we used our missiles a little bit. We kind of like press the missiles before we're even looking at people, drag it, and then they're already around the corner, right? So missiles. So far, we've seen very little value out of them because a lot of them are just being pressed at the wrong times. Same thing with like DM, so ability usage is seeming like something that's cropping up here a lot. Here we're about to DM against nothing in particular. I guess we're DMing against the Genji, but once again, Genji Shuriken's not super big deal to be DMing unless you're like about to get demacked, right? That's a little bit different than if you're full HP.
Epic. 완전 좋아. Let's keep it moving.
Heal up here.
Okay. Oh, very nice. Again, the far there. They might have even. I'm not sure if you knew that she was there or not. Because if you knew she was there, it's possible you could have just flown up the the faster way.
Yeah, honestly, I think I was gonna go high ground and then I heard her footsteps or something.
Okay. In that situation, you probably want to be playing aggressive. We kind of weren't pressuring these guys at all. Like, look right here in the situation. If we go back a couple seconds, right,
Okay.
where currently, aside from us knowing the Pharah is there, right, we see a hog and a baby diva that are relatively close to us, and it's a 6v 1.5, 6v 2.5, right? What's that look like in terms of like who's winning or losing that?
We're definitely winning
Yeah,
that fight.
you definitely. That's just if you press W, you automatically kill them, essentially, right?
Yeah.
So therefore, you probably want to go and force that to happen because if you don't, then they just kind of get away. But if you do go and push, then that ends up staggering them. Are you? I can't recall some of the info they gave me the first time around. Are you newer to the game? I think I saw that you were like a lower border when can I see a border? Yeah,
Yeah.
level 29.
I'm a little new.
Yeah, so are you familiar with the term staggering?
Like, oh, when someone dies and then you keep going in one by one by one.
Yeah, that's a stagger train, which is so you're very close there. Staggering is just the act of dying late or dying separate to your team, right?
Oh yeah.
When then that causes either one of two outcomes. Either A, your team who comes out of spawn before you or separate from you, either they wait for you, in which case you've just wasted a bunch of time, or B, they go in without you and then be at a disadvantage in that fight. And then if it's only like, if it's 5 people who go in, that's just a disadvantage, which is bad for your team still. They're more likely to lose without you. And then they could also go in with like 1 or 2 people. And then that's a stagger train where you die and stagger, then they go in and stagger, then the next people go in and stagger, and
Yeah.
then that just keeps on looping. So that's another thing to keep in mind as well. So you don't want to stagger, but you want to make them stagger whenever possible. And here you can stagger them, right? This is kind of more a verb now, right? You're staggering them. You can stagger them by pushing forwards and actually looking to kill them, whereas we kind of just like kind of slowly walk forwards and then we kind of ignore the hog, go over to the side. We just happen to find the far up here so that we get the kill, but probably could have pushed up on those tanks as well.
Yeah.
is pleased.
The payload.
Toki online. Buddy nerf this.
Okay.
He falls off the edge.
That's nice.
My APM. Buddy hop nerf
Okay.
this.
When launching in the bomb, I may recommend launching it slightly up in the air, as
Yeah.
this can end up getting people behind objects. So, for example, let's say there's people over on these boxes, right? And you launch it downwards. Well, then they can just run around the boxes and they're safe. But if you threw the bomb upwards and it exploded right here, well, now look at this perspective on the boxes. They can't use the boxes as cover because the bomb sees them no matter where they go behind the boxes. So that's why using in the air can be a little bit better. It also can make it slightly less predictable about like where it's gonna exactly land. And then possibly also make it harder for like the hog to hook it if it's midair. Though I mean not too much harder. So that's just maybe the very slight difference there. I think that was good because you identified they were all out in the open. They did not have any cover.
This.
None of these guys really had anywhere to go fast, which is really good. Though Hog ends up, he I think he just walked off the map there. it didn't even look like the bomb didn't hit him until after he fell.
Yeah.
Now show them. I'm gonna have to shoot you down.
Can't.
Tactical visor activated.
Okay. Looks like we're having a slight bit of trouble tracking people when they're on top of us.
Yeah.
So when it comes to learning to track, I think, correct me if I'm wrong. Last time, did you say this is like one of your first FPS games, so you're newer to this? Is that you? Or
Yeah.
is that someone else? Okay. So of course that's just gonna come because you're inexperienced and you're getting used to all the gameplay mechanics and whatnot. I would say two things. Firstly, once again, I apologize. Maybe I should have done a refresher for myself. Do you play comp yet, or are you mainly just looking to play some quick play while you're getting into the game?
This is a comp game.
This is a comp game. Okay.
Yeah.
So before you get into competitive, if you're not already, I would, or I guess let me ask, are you doing warm ups before you play? Comp?
Well, usually if I'm on DPS, I go into deathmatch, but tank, I would just kind of go with it.
Okay. Tanks, it depends on which tank you're playing. If you're playing a main tank such as Winston or Reinhardt, it probably wouldn't be too necessary, or Orisa, right? It might not be too necessary to warm up at all. But Divas slightly, and Zarya, who you were playing as well, are slightly more aim-intensive characters, so you might want to do a warm up with them as well as DPS. And then deathmatch, I think that's good. I might bump it up one step further and say look for to go into tryhard death matches in custom games, as that's
Yeah.
just going to have people be a little bit more competitive. Oftentimes, in it, like I found back in the day, like when I would join death matches, you have a bunch of people just kind of memeing around. You have three people off in a corner dancing together, and people are just saying hello and walking around. Right? It's not really competitive, but when you go and type in tryhard free for all, then that means that people are actually trying, and it's a really fantastic place to firstly warm up your aim, which warm up your aim, which is meaning just you want a fast-paced environment to get your blood pumping and your mechanics back in tune, as they got a little bit rusty every time you take off for the day. That's just how fast mechanics start to fade. And then additionally, I guess where was it going with addition? I think that was about it, right? So I would probably just recommend do a warm up or even just practice in there, even like just you're queuing up for games, just go and do that. Um, just because that'd be a really great environment to practice at it.
Okay.
Time to raise my APM.
One moment. I am checking our notes. All right. So I think I would note that our target priority looks really good. I think according to my notes we like briefly covered it, not as a very major topic, but target priority is looking really good because I noticed we're on the far a ton and we're on the DPS and supports a lot. Okay. Here, you have two things. Firstly,
Mhm.
or I could probably say the main one is audio awareness of the fact that the Farah is like sneaking right by us, and we can hear her clickety clack of her footsteps, and look up and see her if we're paying attention. What just happened? Why did you disappear? Uh,
Oh.
okay, so you can hear Farah sneak up next to you here in a second. You might not be able to hear it because I my volume turned down a little bit. Apologies for that. I like to hear myself talk when I coach. But the FAR does end up sneaking up right behind you and then go for a big barrage and kills your whole team. That's your responsibility as the diva because you here can turn around and very easily just kill the Farah and also DM her ultimate, which can end up saving the whole team fight off of
Mhm.
one play. So that's important that we pay attention and be aware of our surroundings. Last time we discussed audio awareness and go into settings on that and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
I I did that. I did
already.
the yeah.
Then it's just continued paying attention to it and giving it attention to make sure that we are just paying attention to our surroundings, and that
Okay.
will allow us to hear better and see better, and therefore hear when far sneaking up around us. So listen for footsteps and gunshots and abilities and ultimates, etc. Because then Farah doesn't get away with the 3K.
Good thing I brought an umbrella.
I have taken
요거 인공지능?
see that which is let them out.
Boosters engaged.
Payload is approaching its destination.
Okay.
I think I murdered Hanzo.
Boosters engaged.
Payload is approaching its destination.
Because of the lack of DM, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um. Whenever you get into a game, something that I find that helps a lot when it comes to knowing, like actively paying attention to abilities and ultimates um, to make sure that we're actively watching them and actually DMing against them and shielding against them and whatnot, bubbling against them, is that whenever you get into a game, you wanna, or every round of every game, or every time they swap a character, you go on to look at their team comp and think to yourself, what abilities and ultimates can I actively eat and watch out for, right? So if we scanned through our team comp, right, I would say, okay, Soldier Visor, Hanzo Dragon you can eat, right? Maybe you can eat if you see Hanzo Storm Arrowing. You can eat if like not you can't really eat the whole thing, but you can eat a decent bit of Bap Window. If the Rhino fire strikes, you want to eat the fire strikes that he fires out, and the Mercy's not really anything, right?
Mhm.
So I'd walk through and I'd go through all those things, and then that gives you like 6 different things to actively pay attention to and actively watch out for, and then you're probably gonna be more likely to actually eat them. Whereas so far we haven't seen you eating like a ton of abilities and ultimates, right? It's been a lot of just this person's going pew pew. Um, so on their team, what would be abilities and ultimates that you can actively look to watch out for and DM against?
So Farah Barrage,
hmm
Hog Hook. If Zen discorded someone, I could eat the headshots. Uh, and yeah, a lot of Farah too, because her missiles do a lot of damage when they're direct hits. So maybe when she's shooting at us,
Yeah, I would say
eat
the
it.
the primary three that you can actively look to DM would be the Far Barrage, the Hog Ultimate, and whenever Hog hooks somebody, right? Those would be the
Mhm.
primary three.
Oh yeah,
Um,
Hog ult.
because then Discord and far shooting at somebody, that's still kind of going to kind of depend on danger levels of teammates and do they actually need you to DM against those things, and those sort of situations. Usually the danger level is like just automatically really high if any of those three are enacted, right?
Mhm.
So intentionally watch out for those things, and then we can maybe stop the hog from hooking. All right. Um. So we end up ulting here. Trying to think. Last time did we talk about how to tell whether or not you've won or lost a fight?
Oh, yeah, we lost this fight. I think when they killed Bap, I back out.
Hmm.
I was just kind of pushing the cart as far as I could, and then I would have backed out when I had
Yeah.
low health.
I think that we kind of overstay our welcome a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that especially our whole team, and it's possible that we kind of baited our team into that as well. Like we're kind of baiting our team to stay. So answer me this question real quick. Um, do we in this situation? How many fight from the current spot we're at? Right where Cart's at, right? By the fight's over. We lost the fight. We only have 3 people left. It's a 3v4, and they have close spawns. Genji's coming back, right? That's a lost fight. Okay. In this situation, and the Cart's right here. How many fights do we need to win from here on out to cap point?
1.
Okay. Now Cart's right here. How many fights do we need to win point?
Oh, yeah, like, yeah, 1 fight.
All right. So
Maybe
therefore,
2 fights.
two fights if the Cart's right here.
No, 1, 1, 1, 1.
Yeah, 1 fight. So from here to here, is there a big difference between like the win condition?
Oh, no.
No. So in this situation, pushing cart is probably like irrelevant at this point, unless cart was like all the way back here, and you want to get it close enough for that 1 fight victory, right? Like if cart's back here, then sure, go ahead and push it forward so you're in that 1 fight range. But here, from here on out, we're already in that 1 fight range, right?
Hmm.
So if we're staying in longer, yeah, maybe we could push it and then back out, but maybe Hanzo and Bap can't do that as easily. So us pushing forwards, we're kind of baiting our team to follow us into danger, and then we're staggering all our teammates and staying into this fight that we've already lost, and we probably could have just backed out right here and right now, right? And then
Yeah.
come back as a team, come back as 6, won the fight, right? And then we'd be good. So last time you said we did talk about watching kill feed and telling whether or not you've won or lost the fight. Do you recall the numbers that we discussed?
Uh, like aggression levels?
Mm. That's good that you remember aggression levels. We talked about it's very similar to that. So I said,
Oh.
we wanna look at kill feed, right? And you can tell whether or not you've won or lost the fight when you are up or down 1 to 2 people. That is an advantage or a disadvantage. When you are
Mhm.
up or down 2 to 3 people, that is a won or a lost fight, right? Um, so you want to make sure you're paying attention to those numbers, and it can get more. That's the basic level. It can get more nuanced from there. And remember, when you've lost a fight, you get out if you can, and if you can't, you let them kill you. Here, this is a lost fight. We're only, as of the current moment, um, you're only down 1 person, pretty much. Do you maybe? But I would say that there's kind of one primary reason why this is a lost fight still, even though we're only down 1 person.
Mm.
Do you maybe care to guess why that is?
Uh, is it because oh, wait a second. There's a lot of people oh, wait. Oh, is it our tank that's down?
No, you can be down your other tank and be fine. Um,
Okay.
yep. Here we're only down 1 person. Now, the reason why typically the reason why 2 is the middleman. It goes 1 to 2 and then 2 to 3, right? The reason why 2 is in the middle of those two, because that can maybe sometimes get a little confusing for people because they're like, okay, well, what do I do if we're down 2 people, right? Is that won or a lost, or is that it just a disadvantage, or is that a lost fight, or just an advantage or a won fight? Well, the reason why it's on the line is because there's a lot of other things that also impact whether or not you're winning or losing a fight. Which team has more health, more abilities, more ultimates. Which team has closer spawns? Here they
Yeah.
have much closer spawns than our team. They're going to be getting back their players in about a second. You know, they're probably getting their players back almost twice as fast as our players, right?
Yeah.
Um, and then you know you have other things such as who has better positioning and things like that, right? All those things feed into it. Now, usually that means that you know if you are down 2 people, that is usually the marker, right? If you come into a fight and you're down 2 people but their whole team is 1 HP, well then that's still winnable, right? But if you come into a fight and you're down 2 people and they have no additional advantage, well then that's just a flat up lost fight, right? Here in this situation, I guess I'd take it back. I think it was showing that they had 3 people live. Oh, maybe I just misread the situation. Oh, they did have a Zen. Wait, what happened to oh, their Diva just died. Okay, so your Hanzo did just kill Diva, right?
Yeah.
So that changes it slightly. I actually didn't notice that previously, right? But I would say that this is maybe just a big major disadvantage at this point. You could look to just back up because you don't want to actively push into a major disadvantage. Really, that's like if you can help it, you don't want to actively force a major disadvantage. So here we just end up overstaying a welcome. Hanzo dies, right? We get demeched. He dies. We end up just all staggering, right? Which isn't very good.
Mhm.
Now that's teamwork.
Right, and then we kind of do a stagger train there, right?
Time to raise my APM. Nerf this. 날라간다.
Take your medicine.
Okay. Watch kind of maybe like the unnecessary DMs there. We're just kind of peeking unnecessarily,
Get through this.
not really doing a whole lot.
I'll show them.
Look to immediately boost at him. What does your boost do to the Genji when you hit him with
Boops
it?
them.
It
It
boops
boops
him.
them.
Okay. Why would booping a blading Genji be important?
Because he probably wouldn't be able to hit as many people as if I
Okay.
didn't boop him.
It's two primary things. Firstly, you can boop them away from your teammates,
Yeah.
which can keep them alive longer, give them more time to escape. Secondly, it's you know, as a Genji player, I would say it's very disorienting, right? Because
Mm.
you're dashing around, you're going at you're going at super fast speeds, you're you know and then you get booped 5 times. It just becomes really hard to keep track of what the heck is happening, right? So booping him gets him away from the team, and then also confuses him, and then that would probably help out. Whereas here we're kind of just like keeping our distance. Watch shooting into his deflect.
Tactical visor activated.
Okay. Maybe some better targets there. Like Mercy is beaming him. You can see the beam, and Mercy's like
Yeah.
right here to our left that we could go for. There's a far above us. We could hear shooting around. There's a Zen over there. So I mean, like it's not terrible. We're already drastically winning the fight, but we're also maybe have some easier targets to kill. Okay, nice. Nice, good audio awareness. Let's see, did we have missiles? No, we didn't. Okay, so we just got them.
Weapon systems overloaded. Damn it. Nerf this.
Okay, so here
Damn it.
we're shooting the Genji. I would say this seems maybe like a rushed bomb.
Yeah.
Because we don't really survey the situation before throwing it. We're kind of in the middle of shooting at somebody. We probably could have even killed. I think we stopped shooting at the Genji here while we're to throw the bomb, right? So in that situation, we have a Mercy who's like very out in the open. Once again, target. This gets into a little bit of target priority. Mercy is probably gonna be much easier to kill than a Genji who has jump, dash, climb, deflect, is being healed by Zen and Mercy, right? Than a Mercy, right? That's probably much easier to kill her. So probably focus her. You can see the beam, you can hear her, you can see her. Additionally, we don't really take too much time to survey the situation. There is one thing for a bomb, right? For when it comes to
Mhm.
bombing, there's one thing that counters bomb, and every single character in the game can use it. What is that?
Oh, it counters bomb it
Hmm?
immortality field?
Nope, because not every character. Only Baptiste has immortality.
Oh,
Right?
wait. Cover? Natural cover?
Yes, there you go. Right cover. So, therefore, when you're looking for a bomb, you want to use it when their team has an absence of cover. When they have no cover to use. Because if they have cover, then they can just get around it and they're safe, right? That's just
Mhm.
it's just the natural counter to it. So when you're throwing a bomb, you want to survey real quick and see where the, or at least know where the heck is their team, and they need to have an absence of cover, or else your bomb's not going to do anything. Now here, the reason why Mercy dies to it is because Mercy does have an absence of cover. Like, look at where Mercy's at. She has
Yeah.
no cover nowhere, right? Which is good, but we could also maybe get. I mean, but also think of it like this: if we didn't bomb and we looked at Mercy, would Mercy die anyways?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. So, not that this is the worst bomb I've ever seen. You threw it, it landed, it got a kill, but we probably could be doing more with it. Getting 2 kills, 3 kills, 4 kills, and then those are going to be, 2. Not probably not just 3, but maybe like 4. 3 kills would probably be like 4 times better because it kind of get a little bit of a multiplier going there, right? Get
Mhm.
4 kills, that's probably like 6 times better. Right? It's just be so much better if we're using it slightly differently.
Mecha activated.
Sorry about my cat.
Oh,
I
all
don't know
good.
if you can hear him.
Nope, couldn't even hear it.
Okay.
I think this pig's a little undercooked.
Okay,
Mercy in the righteous.
good DM of him.
Time to raise my APM. Shoot you down.
Okay, good DM of that. Good job watching those holds.
For the Crusaders!
Now that's a kill.
Double kill. Triple kill.
I am on fire!
All right.
Attackers ready.
Yeah, I'm playing Zarya here.
2, 1. Attackers incoming.
Oh, okay, never mind. That's that. I forget which color you guys were, or I don't even know if that's affected by color. But I saw the Junkrat mines bouncing off of the fence and thought that was their Junkrat, and I was about to say, why don't you step into the mines? I was like, never mind, that's your Junkrat. All right.
Ready for battle.
Okay, nice. Stepping into danger.
Barriers on you.
Good bubbles.
Move back.
You're covered.
Get inside!
Okay.
Get inside!
Yeah, I think that's fine. All right.
Barriers on you. Is that all you've got?
Okay, so far, really great bubbles, getting us a lot of energy.
Thank you, my friend.
Promising, but not good enough. Give me your best shot. Barriers on you. Go.
Oh!
Oh, got the high ground there for a second. All right, so far things seem pretty chill. We got kills. They haven't done a whole lot. Had some good bubbles here. We maybe get a little bit aggro. We push a little bit away from our team. We kind of step. Watch how we do a very wide step here when we push.
Yeah.
We do a wide swing when we can do the same thing, like right here,
Mhm.
right next to our Reinhardt, right next to cover. So we do a little bit of a wide swing, which means that we're pushing away from cover, right? And then we get booped, and then instead of running towards our team, we run over here to the right side. So we're kind of isolating ourselves a little bit. I'm not sure if that gets punished at all, but yeah, so it doesn't look like it's getting punished at all. But just be
No.
careful about it, just because that just opens up for us getting killed and ganked there.
Just a scratch.
Let them out!
Justice.
Check out this gun.
Okay, that bubble's a little wasted.
Not good.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you possibly see an issue with that engagement?
Yeah, I pushed too far ahead.
Yeah, we isolated ourselves from our teammates a lot. Got a little bit greedy for the kill on the baby diva. We're hacked. We're half HP. So if we're thinking through all these different aggression scaling that we talked about last time, right?
Mhm.
When to go, when to back, when to go aggressive, when to play passive, right? We're currently hacked. That means we're down abilities, which is resources. We are half HP, which again is down resources. We don't have any teammates, which that's kind of classified. I guess you could count your teammates as resources, right? But it kind of depends because there's some situations where going off on your own is perfectly fine, right? So it kind of depends on the scenario. With teammates, that's a little bit more nuanced. I haven't directly fit that into it yet, but being away from your team definitely is probably, like in this situation particularly, right? When you're this isolated from your team and you're going aggressive. Excuse me, sorry. I had phone go off in the background there.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
So here, right, we're definitely very far away from our team. So again, that should probably mean that we should be backing, playing passive. Yeah, I'd say that's all the main stuff, right? We just don't have resources. We don't have our team. That's mainly it. Therefore we are in danger. And we probably don't want to be doing this, and then that gets us killed, kind of almost predictably, or not almost, but predictably.
Без труда не вытащишь и рыб.
Heroes never die.
Barriers on you. Go.
Okay, nice bubbles. We've been very high energy consistently. Not sure if that's something we talked about last time at all.
Yeah, I've been starting to not use bubbles around corners and stuff.
Yeah.
I kept that in mind.
Yeah, looks like last time ability usage was number 2. So nice is looking very good at the moment. So I will say that. You know, with the off couple, but that happens. Though we want to look for just all the more consistency, like that one for example, right? Balls rolling away. Who else is gonna shoot at Reinhardt?
Ready for battle.
Oh, that was a really good bubble. I'm not even sure if we're fully thinking through the tanking value we got out of that, or just thinking about the energy. But on top of the energy there, we also were able to block for our Reinhardt because he was hacked and he was trying to back out. Right, we're stepping inside of him. We're taking a lot of damage. We're also taking that damage for the Reinhardt, right? So that was a really good bubble.
Charging up.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I knew that.
Maximum charge.
Okay, possibly could be looking for a grab anytime now, right? We're
Yeah.
Get
Um,
in there. Maximum
doesn't have to
charge.
be now, just whenever we see it.
Огонь по готовности.
Um,
Maximum charge.
make sure firstly we're trying to wait for as many people as possible to group up. Here we're throwing it at one ball, right?
Yeah.
Secondly, it's one ball, and that's probably firstly that's not a lot of people. Secondly, not probably the worst target. Thirdly, he's fast, so he gets out of it. So wait for more people to group up, right? We could probably see a dozen, not a dozen, but we could probably see a bunch of situations where people are grouped up throughout this, right? Like 3 people. Let's just watch for situations on our screen, right? So 3 people right there, maybe, right? Mercy, Baby Diva would have to walk a little bit closer, but we have Mercy and Sombra at the very least,
Огонь по
right? We give it a
готовности.
couple extra seconds. Let's see, do they group up? Oh. All right, well that'll happen. Oh, there you go. They grouped up, right? So right here, if we were to grab right now, we'd get 3 people, right?
Yeah.
Just waiting an extra second for it.
Barriers on you. Go. Maximum charge.
Tactical visor activated. Horns and Crusaders!
Okay. Now we still get her here, but I see a better target priority on my screen.
Oh, is it the Lucio?
Yeah.
Uh.
Possibly not noticing him there. Probably could help get him as well as the Diva.
Go. Bring it. Maximum charge.
Okay.
Go.
what did we say last time? Hopefully we said it last time. But what did we say last time after your high energy, after like 70 plus in energy? What do your bubbles now want to primarily do?
Just like if someone's in a dangerous situation, that's
Yeah.
when you'd probably want to bubble them. Since you're already high energy, you don't really need to use them randomly.
Yeah. So the distinction would be tanking versus energy, right? And typically when you're going through your gameplay, you want to look for as many tanking bubbles as you can, because tanking bubbles typically give you energy, right?
Mhm.
So somebody's in danger and about to die, probably going to give you energy, right? So somebody gets charged by Reinhardt. You bubble your teammate, they live, you get energy. Someone gets hooked by Roadhog, you bubble, saves their life, you get energy, right? Those are tanking bubbles. Anytime you're basically using your bubble to create space or save someone's life, typically are going to give you a lot of energy. Now you also have like pure energy bubbles, which are just, you're actively looking to force them to give you energy, right? Or you're just trying to soak up as much energy as possible. Those are perfectly fine if you're low energy, but once you're high energy, it really becomes a lot less necessary, and you want to actively look for pure tanking bubbles, right? Where
Yeah.
you're putting that as a priority, right? So look at these two bubbles that we use. Now we're 86, right? So we could only possibly here get like a maximum of like 20, right, energy from our bubbles, and then we use this bubble on Reinhardt while he's walking
Mhm.
out. Maybe not super necessary, as he's very far away from everybody. He's not in immediate danger. He's not near any mines yet. So maybe he runs into stuff, right? He runs into a mine, but right, did it really do a ton? And we also use it for ourselves,
Depending on you.
right? We're already high energy. We're not in danger. We're not in need of it. Probably don't want to be wasting it, right?
Maximum
Mhm.
charge.
Justice reigns from above. Apagando las luces.
Not good.
Okay. Here probably want to be looking to back out sooner, right? Noticing the kind of the flow of the fight. How we end up losing teammates. So right now it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 v2,
Yeah.
right? So if at all possible, we're 100 energy. We don't want to come into the next fight with 0 energy. That wouldn't be very good, because then we have to restart the whole energy process, and we don't want to have to restart the whole energy process because that's very slow, and it means that we're missing out on tanking value and we're missing out on damage value. So whenever possible, we want to come into the fight with high energy, not start at 0 or 50. So here we want to escape if at all possible, but we kind of hang around in the fight longer than necessary. Once
Mhm.
again, noting target priority. It's going to be harder to kill
Not good.
Sombra, who has Translocator and is being healed by her supports, than looking at the Mercy, right, and the Baby Diva and the Lucio, all of whom are probably going to be easier to kill.
Mhm.
So keep your eye on that target priority.
Get in there.
Let's get you back in the fight. You needed a doctor.
Give me your best shot.
Let in the immortality field. There.
Let me get you patched up. Damage amplified.
Nice.
I know. Not good.
This. Take cover. Mecha activated.
You're covered. Barrier activated.
Heroes never die.
Alright, right now we're just looking for energy. Very hectic fight.
Yeah, I don't even know what's going on. I swear to God, you're telling me all these things, and it's like, oh yeah, your team will help you, but it's so unpredictable in gold lobbies. I don't even know what's going on at the time.
Yep, I mean it's gonna be like that sometimes.
Yeah.
Tactical visor activated.
It's like, oh, you're gonna lose this fight, and then we end up winning somehow, and it's just very unpredictable. But
Yeah,
you know,
which keep in mind when we talk about that, right? It's all a number. Firstly, note that when we're talking about that sort of thing, like we hadn't even previously gone into the in-depth portion of it, and if we
Yeah.
could probably go even more in depth than we have gone on how to tell whether or not you're winning or losing. And then the other thing
Mhm.
is that yes, you are correct. Things are going to be unpredictable, and really, you're playing with a statistics game. You're thinking, okay, right now I have a 20% chance of winning. That's still 20% chance of winning, right? You can still pull that around, but is it worth trying, like, wasting your ultimate or staggering yourself or trying to force a fight that they have an 80% chance of winning versus waiting for the next fight where you have a 50% chance of winning or a 60% chance of winning, right?
Yeah.
So it's making those judgment calls. So sometimes if you see an opportunity, taking that chance might, it's kind of yeah, taking that chance might be worth it. It's really what it is it's risk management, right? Sometimes taking the risk is okay. And other times, taking the risk is probably not a very good idea, especially in those situations where it's even lower and it's like okay, you have a 95% chance of losing. Right? Do you really
Mhm.
want to bet on that 5% chance of winning? So, yes, you're gonna have situations where where you're gonna have a chance. Somebody pops off, somebody gets a 6K. You get you throw in a bomb and it somehow kills 5 people. Those happen. It's just not gonna happen all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So, quick review, wrap up, the main points, and then wrap up.
Okay.
So we did Diva, we did Zarya.
I'm going to win.
Diva flight most of the time, pretty good. Not too many issues with it.
I still have you.
Missiles, don't press them too early. Right, we press them a couple times. We're back here, and then we end up doing this, and then they don't do anything by the time we reach them. Right. Also, don't use them after the person's already got away, because sometimes we'll do this where we'll go, dang it, and then we'll press it after they've already escaped, right?
Yeah.
So watch your missiles. Make sure we're doing it when we're like on top of people. Defense matrix. A lot of different ways that we use this. We use it when people are in danger. We use it to block abilities and ultimates. Actively think about which abilities and ultimates we can block, because those are incredibly important things to look for. We can also block when we're like pushing aggro, when we're backing out, because usually those are kind of indicative of danger level. We're boosting at somebody, we can DM, because that might mean that they're trying to like almost trying to sleep us or something like that.
Mhm.
So those types of situations, but you don't want to just kind of plop it out there for random spam damage. That's not really going to do a whole lot. Okay. Overall ability usage probably went to a medium or so. Then Zarya ability usage, not a whole lot, or I guess like a little bit still, right? Just get more consistent at it, right? Make sure don't keep using it after your high. Blah, blah, blah. Sorry, restarting that one. Make sure that you're looking for pure tanking bubbles when you're high energy, not keep going for energy. Also, a couple bubbles were off, so just keep on looking for good situations with it. Overall, though, low to medium priority, which I think is different from last time.
Yeah.
Back to Diva.
I'm
You
going to
have
win.
ultimate usage. Ultimate usage. Look to launch it. Don't just plop it. And then when you do launch it, try to be unpredictable with it. Right, launch it from around the corner, over a rooftop, something like that. And then make sure that they're actually on the open so that you have people to hit. Right, make sure they don't have cover. Make sure they have an absence of cover. That's gonna be where your bomb actually does the most. And
Let's
then overall,
top that.
that one was probably like a high, maybe a higher end of low to medium, somewhere around that. Um, Zarya, maybe like a medium. I only saw one though. Right, just make sure you're looking for as many people as possible. Look for them to group up. Be ambitious with it. Make sure you're actually getting somebody in it. And also target priority within it. Right. Moving on to do mechanics, practice mechanics. Recommend try to free for all. Warm up before you play, especially if you're playing like an aim-intensive tanks like Zarya and Diva. Besides that, I would also recommend paying attention to your target priorities still, because sometimes they're a little bit off with that, right? Sure, the easy targets, not the hard targets to kill. If somebody's being pocketed by a Mercy, Mercy might be easier to kill than the person who's getting pocketed, right? So think through who's easiest, who's hardest, come up with a list in your head, once again, of like, who should I be looking at? And then for that, I'd probably recommend press tab in between every single fight of the game, as at a very minimum. That way you're able to see What comp are they on? What comp are we on? Did they swap anything? Did we swap anything? What ultimates do we have, etc. And then overall, that was probably like a lower end of a medium. And then we have positioning. Make sure that you are using cover. And I mean, I don't think we really talked a ton on positioning. I don't think you were too bad with it. So honestly, low to medium, not a big deal that we really discussed at all. And then finally, awareness/aggression. Right, still looking at that one. Pay attention to what's going on with your surroundings, what's your health, what's your abilities at, what's happening with your team versus the enemy team, what's happening to our audio awareness, right? Listening to people around us, paying attention to just general surroundings. What else is there? Yeah, just a lot. Press tab, watch kill feed. 1 to 2 is an advantage or disadvantage. 2 to 3 is a won or lost fights. Pay attention to the numbers because a lot of people forget. A lot of other things that go into that as well. Those act as other advantages and disadvantages. Remember, this also feeds into aggression scaling, right? All those things that we discussed within advantages and disadvantages also apply to aggression scaling advantages versus disadvantages, right? So keep on doing your aggression scaling, right? Remember, it's 50% is neutral, 0% is passive, 100% is aggressive. Get aggro with the advantages, aggro with the opportunities, passive with disadvantages, danger, and a lack of resources. And then overall, that one was probably like low end of a medium high. So I think that you did make progress on that one. Just still, it looks to be the primary thing still.
Yeah.
So don't get disheartened by it. It's just, I think it's only been like a week since the last session anyways. You 100% made a lot of progress on your bubble usage. If that was the number 2 thing we went over last time, and here it's probably like the bottom thing on Zarya. That's a lot of progress you made on that. And then also, I definitely think that your awareness/aggression is better than last time. Still needs work though, right?
Yeah.
Any
I've been
questions?
focusing.
Go ahead.
Oh yes. I don't really have any questions, but I've
All
been
good.
focusing on like positioning.
Top of the
Mm-hmm.
scoreboard.
So I think my positioning has been a little better. I'm not too sure though.
Yeah, which last time we put that as number 4. So, and then this time, like I said, I'd like to put that all in order. I forgot to put it in order, but
Yeah.
that wasn't very high up on the list, right? So to put in
Yeah.
order, number 1, and this differs from Zarya to Diva with a little bit. Let's do Diva. Diva number 1 is awareness/aggression. Number 2 is going to be your ability usage. Number 3 is going to be your probably your mechanics, and then your ultimate usage, and then finally your positioning. And then over on Zarya, it's going to be awareness/aggression. Then it's going to be your ult usage, and then
Mhm.
mechanics, and then ability usage, and then positioning last. So position is kind of the last thing. Last time, remember, I'd probably recommend focusing on like kind of those higher main points. So if
Yeah.
positioning was on the lower end, might not, and not to say that you can't think of it at all, but might not want to put as much attention into it just because it's something that you're doing good at for the moment. So that'd just be my recommendation. So here we are going through, definitely recommend thinking and actively paying attention to those top ones, though positioning definitely was doing very good as it's the bottom one.
Okay.
Okay, so nothing else?
No, well, I just wanted to thank you for the session.